some answers. You deserve to get some answers.
Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Money Monster. I actually thought this was a pretty good movie. I didn't quite know what to expect from it going in. I mean, obviously from the trailer I thought it looked interesting because, I went to see it. But I got more out of it than I was expecting, and I really did enjoy the movie. I found it pretty intense. And what was good about it was very intense. But then at the right moments, they brought in some lighthearted jokes just here and there. Just some of those funny moments. They didn't feel like they were out of place or anything like that. They were just those moments that kind of broke the tension, brought some levity to it, and then boom, you go right back into it. And I thought that was really well done. So, good job, Jodie Foster. I didn't know she did a whole bunch of directing. I saw directed by Jodie Foster on this. So, Jodie Foster, good job with that. This is a story well told. So what this whole movie is supposed to be driven by is this connection you're supposed to have with George Clooney, who plays the, show host, Lee, and Kyle, who's the guy who takes everybody hostage. So we're supposed to connect with Kyle on kind of that personal level and understand where he's coming from, even though he's taken this way too far. But we are supposed to kind of connect with him on this human level and go, but I understand that his search for answers as to where his money went and this game that just is preying on the innocent. So connecting with him on that level, I mean, that's where we're supposed to be with Kyle. And then, Lee, I mean, he's this kind of crooked guy. He kind of does the show. He doesn't really care too much about a lot of things. Yeah, I don't know. He kind of reminds me of the Tony Stark kind of guy. He's got the money. He's got the women. And that's just kind of where he's at. And, so through the course of this movie, we're supposed to watch both these characters grow. We're supposed to connect with George Clooney. We're supposed to connect with Kyle. And those two have to connect with each other. Because if they don't find some more sort of connection there where George Clooney understands Kyle and Kyle understands George Clooney and they get to the point of helping each other, kind of like what you see in the trailer, then it doesn't really work. And I thought they did a really good job of bringing that together. Julia Roberts was really great in this movie. Like, she's up there in the booth, and you can feel the weight of the decisions she has to make. Like, the cops call, and they're trying to negotiate, but the guy, Kyle, doesn't want to negotiate, so he's starting to lose his mind. So she has to make a tough call, cut off the cops to calm down that guy, which that's a tough call. But throughout this movie, you're seeing her make these tough calls. And I was just with her. Like, I felt it. Like, I kind of saw it in her eyes. This was a tough situation, but she was staying strong. She's staying through it, and I really liked her character. George Clooney, I thought, did a great job. As soon as the guy shows up with the gun and all that stuff, I saw the panic in his eyes. I felt the panic that he was feeling and experiencing, and I thought that was really well done. So I was just like, cool, yeah, he's not trying to be Mr. Tough Guy. He was freaked out when the gunman comes, and as he begins to adjust to the situation, he begins to get his wits about him. And the guy who played Kyle, yeah, in the beginning, I didn't like him very much. In fact, I actually thought it was kind of slow to start a little slow to get into things, but once it really got into it, and that actor playing Kyle did a fantastic job. And I felt like George Clooney, his character Lee, did have that connection with Kyle, because I had that connection with Kyle. I thought what Kyle did was blatantly wrong, but I began to understand why he was there and what was going on, and then I wanted Lee, George Clooney, to help him figure things out. So they did a good job with that. They had me connect with those characters and want what was going to happen, happen. So it was kind of cool. And one of the things this movie did is it kind of just showed everybody was crooked. So it was kind of interesting to see that everybody had their own angle. So the characters that you really watch grow are the main three: Julia Roberts, George Clooney, and then Kyle. Truthfully, I just thought that all really worked together. I mean, I thought it was an intense movie. It held my attention from beginning to end. That said, in the end, I'm still only going to give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars, and here's why. Because while I did enjoy it, I was into it from beginning to end. It was really intense. It had me just reeling like, okay, well, how's this going to end? What is going to happen here? I hope they get the bad guy. I mean, what? I mean, yeah, it had those moments. But I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars because to me, this movie doesn't have a lot of the rewatchability factor. Like, I'm not going to go watch it again on the big screen. I'm not going to buy it on Blu-ray, and I'm not going to be hurt if I don't ever see the movie again. That sounded really mean. But even though I'm saying that, I had an enjoyable experience with it in the theater. Like, I thought it was a really good movie. It's just not one that I feel that I have to see again, which is why in the end, 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you saw Money Monster, how many stars would you give it? Make sure to let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.
Just point the camera my direction, we'll figure it out together.